Nostalgia after that. Yeah. And what I found out, this is quite a few years ago now, is everybody started doing nostalgic tattooing. Used to be in New York City, moved out west, I forget his name, he had Sunset Tattooing.
Well, that was Cliff Raven's son, in California. Sunset Tattoo was Cliff Raven's place. And then Richie Benedito took it over.
Anyhow, he came out as a big nostalgic tattooer. Did all the old 60s, 70s, traditional. Yeah. And he made it popular again. And people ask for it.
But they want that traditional, old school stuff less and less. The young kids ain't interested in it.
Japanese work came out. Everybody wants it.
Nobody wants it now.
Now, it's passing. Yeah. I'm actually doing half of the guy's body in Jap and half with some Harley stuff, but all skulls with a background. And I've been working on him for 2 years. He goes to Florida for the all winter, so. But he's like a steady guy, comes in every Wednesday. But they're far in between anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's no loyalty. There's no loyalty. Not that there was so much loyalty years ago, but it's less today. Yeah. If you're not there, you could give them 20 tattoos.
But everybody had their own tattoo guy. Now,
like I'm saying,
I was on vacation. I got tattoos. There's no loyalty.
Yeah. You could give them 20 tattoos at good prices. If you're not there, they'll pay top price down the block and then come back to you and have the balls to tell you, well, this guy did this for that. Could you give me my next one?
Yeah, right. Yeah. I think every shop here is the same crap. I remember when I was younger in bars and stuff, people come up to me and tell me how tight they were with Sailor Fred.
Oh yeah, I get people like that. I have people.
One guy told me he was a nephew of mine.
I had a guy tell me to my face recently, Tim will back me up, that he was the last apprentice of my father and uncle. The only thing is, my father and uncle, you're looking at the only guy that they taught sitting right here. And the guy couldn't look in my eyes. He looked over my head to tell me that. And his proof was he had a little tattoo that my father gave him at a convention, Walt. And that was his proof.
That was it.
That he was their apprentice. Yeah. So, too many, everybody wants to be so relevant today that they make up whatever comes into their head.
I had to pick up my dumpster when I was in Rochester on Mile Avenue. And came in, got some tattoo work. I got to be friendly with him. Well, we bought a kit through a magazine or whatever. Online wasn't that big yet. And he went up to Canada, told him I broke him into the business. And I said, no, he picked up my garbage, man. I didn't know he had machines and stuff. So he got enough tattoos to get away with it, but the work was the work and it got thrown out. And he was down in, I forget what town in Alabama. There was a guy, Wolfman. I think Birmingham, and it sounded like they were in a bar. I never met this guy, Wolfman, and he calls me with the same story. He said, I only put him because I heard of you, and if you broke him in, I seen your work, it'd be okay. This guy's horrible. He picked up my garbage, and the only next thing I heard was a picture of a beer mug full, hitting this kid over the head, and that was the end of him. I don't even know his name. Like I said, he was the garbage man. And later on, a couple years after that, Grandpa Groovy had a tattoo convention in McLean, Virginia, and he had a booth. So I had to go introduce myself. Was that a full glass of beer or a half glass of beer? He said it was a full one.
That's what bothers me today. You got too many people trying to puff up their own chest with phony info. And when you meet the person you're talking about, the person has no idea who the hell they are.
Well, like I said, I had people tell me they're relatives.
I've had people tell me
that
they're good friends with Walter Moskowitz's sons or Stanley Moskowitz's son. Not true whatsoever. And they'll tell you that to your face like...
That's amazing. I had one guy in a bar, had 2 chicks with him too. I don't know if he was dating them or just spending money on them. But he told me how close in the sale of Fred was and all that. I had a slingshot shirt on, so we got to talking. So I let him talk for about 15, 20 minutes. He finally wanted to shake my hand. Well, I'm Sailor Fred. I wound up with the 2 chicks. He went home with his dick in his hand.
It's a
There's
different
tons
world
of
today.
stories. I mean, I could go on forever.
I mean, you can do this non-stop.
Yeah.
And you remember everything when the camera stops.
Oh, yeah.
Stuff that you forgot to say.
This kid, Chris Pound, that used to travel with me, I took him out to Daytona a few times, took him out to Vegas, Arizona. The year before he started traveling, I did a whole summer on the weekends for Crazy Ace up in Niagara Falls at Waifu Tattoo Studios. There's a franchise. And I took one of his guys out to Vegas, young kid. I thought he was very brilliant, good artist, nice, clean work. Well, he broke up with his girlfriend, who had a kid by him. They weren't married. He got lonely for her, but she was already with another guy. And he had to go home. Well, we're in Vegas. My buddy went out to Arizona and opened up a big bike shop. So he set up, it was a grand opening of a titty bar they bought too. And so we're going to go tattoo at a titty bar. A grand opening. And he wants to go home. So we had about $8,000 to $10,000 worth of work in Arizona, and he wanted to go home. He tells my daughter, grab him an ounce of pot. And I didn't touch that shit since the early 70s. So he was such a punk kid. We got to the airport, going through this before X-rays and all that shit. He put it in the garbage pail because he didn't want to go through the metal detector. If it wasn't what it was, I would have went in. If we weren't at the airport, I would have went and fetched it and came back.
Boy, different times. But you gotta admit it's a thrill though, when all these old time names crisscross the family and stuff. My uncle Stanley Farber, Flatbush Stan, he had the shop on Flatbush Avenue. Jack Dracula worked for him, Tony Polito worked for him, Tony the Pirate Cambria worked for him. They didn't work long. He was a hard guy to get along with, but all these names,
A couple of times.
crisscross.
It's amazing.
It's unreal. And you know what? I'm glad my friend Tim gets me out, because I find, wherever we go, I find all this history out about everybody, and it's completely different than what you see on Facebook.
I had my mobile tattoo studio. I thought this would be the great thing, tattooing some poplar. I'm going to have a good retirement, sit behind a showcase selling.
Didn't work out that way, huh?
And no, these young guys they were covered with tattoos. I didn't know what else to do other than beat them up and drag them in, which you can't do on a midway.
And I don't know if you find that, I talk to a lot of the guys our age and stuff, a lot of these kids want to get tattooed by somebody Tim's age. They don't want us old guys.
I heard one guy in the next town over, a friend of mine in town, said, well, my buddy just opened a shop. Oh, that old shaky old man? I was never called that before. That was an insult.
Pops. They call me Pops. First time a guy called me Pop, I put the machine down, I got pissed. I said, first of all, I'm not your pop. And if you want to get this tattoo, don't talk the whole process here. Let me just do the tattoo. And remember, I'm not your pop.
My brother Frag was just running a sausage thing this summer for Mike's and Teller's, a sausage guy, on the carnivals. And so Frag was there managing the gig. And this one guy kept calling him Pops, and he just hired him on, Hey, Pops this, Pops Frog. He said, don't call me Pops. So he calls him Pops again. Froggy whacked him, knocked him right out the ball. And I said, what did he do? He said, call me Pops for the last time. So the rest of that weekend, we went over to visit me and this cat. Every time I come by the sausage joint, hey, Pops, what's up? What's cooking?
Or sometimes I work at Tim's shop or wherever I'm working. I'll hear somebody say, oh, I'm here for the old guy. I look in the mirror, who the fuck are they? Who's here?
The old guy?
Who's here?
They said my old man was old at 40.
Yeah.
He had an
Well, this
exciting life.
business makes you old anyway, before your time. But we're from a different era. Our fathers were a different era. Our fathers had to fight their way out of the place half the time. That's why
That's what I grew up with.
Yeah. It's a different era. So most of the people tattooing today, my opinion,
Doing shop hours.
they wouldn't
No overtime.
have made a living. Plus, all these people, all they do is complain, it's slow. a lot of the old timers,
Tattooing is always slow.
it's always slow in the winter. I don't care when there was nobody around. But old guys went and worked, did something else.
When I had my freak show, my old man was running the shop for me with other guys. And I go on the road for 7 months. And I come home and my buddy's little daughter, she's a woman now. She said, well, what are we doing this winter? Steak or bologna?
Steak or bologna.
And that's what the tattoo business is.
A friend of mine used to say, it's chicken today
That was Loud Tunnel.
and chicken feathers tomorrow.
That was Loud Tunnel, which had the family crab.
Yes.
Chicken and the feathers.
Chicken feathers today.
Loud Tunnel's
chicken
theory
tomorrow.
about tattoo history was the caveman found fire, and then they burnt the stick by accident, sharpened it, or got stabbed by it, and left a charcoal mark. So they made spears. And then they purposely, because they got those cave markings, and the guys had tattoos on, you figure that was stab marks from burnt sticks. And it's a good theory. Nobody came up with nothing better.
No.
As far as getting covered, his theory is if you took a Sharpie and did dots on a basketball, eventually that basketball would be covered. That was the American way of getting tattooed. You get your big pieces, then your medium, you fill them with little crap.
Yes.
Back in the early days with stars and dots, and
Yes.
spider webs and shit like that for filling.
But you know what amazes me? You had, in the early part of the 1900s, you had all this elaborate work they were getting. Then somewhere after the war, World War II, it became just a mark. They were just getting anything. A lot of that, they get a big eagle, then a skull, and then, but if you look like at early Charlie Wagner's work, Bichette's work, everything was beautiful, mural type
A lot
stuff.
of big work, a lot of back pieces,
Yeah.
gestures.
But somewhere in the, after World War II, for about 25 years or so, it just became whatever you got. And then it's coming back to that now, all elaborate.
Well, other than this big tattoo boom, which has been going on since the 80s, let's say, maybe 70, about every 5 to 10 years, tattoo business was up, then it go down a little
Yes.
bit, then it went up, go down a little bit. It was always that way.
Yeah. Let me tell you something, on Long Island, when it was only my father, and then maybe 1 or 2, 3 shops, it was always slow in the wintertime. Always.
This part of the country.
It's like when I moved to California. When the winter came, it was 75 degrees there, nobody went in their pools. Because it was winter
Too cold.
Yeah.
That's
too
Vegas
cold.
and Arizona.
Hey.
My kids both have pools. Wintertime now, they close them up. What are you closing up for? It's in the 70s.
Yeah, it's human nature, I guess.
Yeah.
And you know what? Everybody says the old timers were thick as thieves and this and that.
No.
That's bullshit. The old time, first of all, it seems people are like screaming little girls today. The old timers didn't give a fuck what the guy down the block was doing.
No.
And
Most of the time they were friends, so they
Yes.
didn't care.
they didn't care.
They all had their little breakups. They
Yes.
kissed and made up, and life went on, and
Yes.
everybody was friendly.
Yes.
More or less.
They have a whole different idea what the old guys were like.
I knew the
If it
business.
didn't impede personally on them, they didn't give a fuck.
Exactly.
And if tattooing was slow, they figured out a way to feed their family.
Right.
Not like today, Jesus.
We were at
Christ.
Carnival when I was real young. It was real slow. It was a fireman field day type thing. Insurance, you don't have too many. That stuff. But we kept eating the clams and the corn. The old man went and bought like the model paint jars
Oh, yeah.
and brushes, and we're painting them with like waterfronts and sunrise, and you put a little pylon with rope with a seagull, like just a single line bird looking thing. And we were selling them for $1 a piece. We made enough to buy more dozens of clams. We were painting all weekend, like a 3-4 day spot upstate. You know?
Well, my father and uncle always insisted I had another job with the tattoo. Always had to do something else.
I had, because I wanted to get involved with other stuff, but I didn't either. The shop did very well because I opened it before the boom, and I was the guy. I knew the business was changing when I heard people, they come in for work, for jobs, and they only want to work Tuesday and Thursday, because Monday and Wednesday they're at this other shop, and Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
I said, who the hell did that? That never happened.
Yeah.
You were loyal to the guy you worked with.
Yes,
That was it.
that's it.
And you didn't work on the other side of town back in the day.
I had 3 shops Well, the first shop, my father and uncle more or less opened for me in Inwood. And I opened the one in Baldwin. And then when my father recovered from his first bout of lymphoma, after he died, we opened up a shop. And I very rarely had many people working for me. I had maybe in the Inwood shop 2 people working. Baldwin also 2 people
I
working.
always had at least 2 other people and my old man. But my old man was kind of the head of the thing if I was at the
Yeah. But it's tough working for your old man. My
Well,
father
when he
used
worked
to-
for me, I worked for him.
My father used to
No.
say, you hanging out or you fucking working today?
My old man worked for me, but if he said something, I listened to him.
Yeah.
He was the old man.
Yeah.
You know?
You know what? I was best buddies with my father, but there was that line, he was the father. He used to, if I got out of line or talked back to my mother, he smacked me in the back of the head.
Just never did
What do
that.
you think, with one of your scumbag friends in the
Yeah.
street?
My mother's famous weapon of choice was cast iron. Fry pan.
Ah,
It was always on the stove, you know, clean and everything. And if we said something, we always happened to be in the kitchen. She set us all up. Yes, that she was a little woman, so we laughed. Then she hit you again because you're like, what's that for? You're laughing at me.
my father constantly, what do you think? I'm only a scumbag friend in the street? I told that when he died to my brothers and sister, and they almost all at the same time said, boy, Daddy never said stuff about our friends like that. Boy, Mom, this is great. I tell you, I had a hell of a time. I got
Glad you came up.
I got to thank Tim for bringing me.
Tim seems like a great guy. He's new, fairly new, and he has a hell of a life.
And he
in
can
front of him.
tattoo his ass off.
Yeah,
He
you
can
see the work he did. Very
He can
nice, clean
tattoo
work.
most of these guys today into the fucking ground.
Nice solid color, nice solid line. That's all it takes. You don't have to be a whiz in this. Just nice clean work. Pays off in the end.
That's it.
That's all, folks.